All right, guys, so it's a little windy today. I'm going to try to talk loud. All right, so I'm up here at this Waterway project. This is going to be part 3 of this series. Just waiting for the wind to die down today to start spraying. You can see what needs to be sprayed. This is the corn stubble from 2018. Weeds and some mare's tail coming. We want to do this one, that one, this one. So, and there's one down over the hill, and then there's 2 down below. So that'll be the soybean ground. Not planting as many soybeans this year. I don't know, but anyway, special treat for you guys. Another international tractor. I will do a video just on the equipment that's here, so we will get into that. Possibly I'll post that the next day, but we want to talk to Waterway. So we made some pretty good progress. He had made some real good progress here. As you can see, this was this grassy area here. So I didn't lose any land here. This here was grass. I had to come up and mow this with the riding lawnmower, actually, because I didn't have any type of a rotary cutter. And down through here, this was the edge of the hayfield, and this was always a ditch. And the ditch was too deep that you could not get in there with the hay bind. I tried the one year to mow this ditch like I was mowing hay. I tried to get in here. Okay, so here's the center, and I tried to straddle it and put the hay bind up on top and tried to cut it. And no matter which way you drove, just the way the ditch was, it wasn't just a straight line. It like zigzagged, and I did get it cut. It wasn't the prettiest. And then trying to rake it and ted it when the ground is so, I mean, you were talking probably from the top of the ditch to the bottom, at least, I don't know, 12 or more inches. Your tedder teeth would be digging in, your rake teeth would be digging in, and then the pickup header on the baler was always digging in. So I just stopped mowing this and just made this the edge of the field and just let this grass, just mowed it with like the lawnmower. So now this is an upgrade here. What he has done with this, there's a belly in here, I can see it. This Waterway will be much easier to maintain now. Excuse me. Okay, so you can see the tracks here. He has that skid steer. It's hiding in the right there. He's got a Caterpillar with tracks, and he can really do a nice job getting the grade here. So we'll just walk down a ways. Yeah, it's a little bit too windy to spray yet, so I have some time. This is all going to be corn next year, or this year. And it's just a lot of winter annuals that aren't real bad. I think we're just going to hit it with some Roundup quick. So we walk down. Here's the edge of the hayfield, and this is where the field started. Now, all this exposed dirt that he has here, this is still going to be the edge of the Waterway. I think it's 30 feet wide. So the bottom view, you can see there's the 30 feet. So all this ground here that he has moved, that was the piles and what he took out of here. That's all going to be corn. We're going to plant corn right up to the edge of this Waterway. You can see it there. I can't see my screen. It's way too sunny, so I don't know what I'm pointing at, but you guys can see the line. The 30 feet. So he had said the extra dirt he was going to try to smooth out. He did bring a rock bucket for the skid steer, so he was picking the bigger rocks out of this Waterway, which is good. I really hate picking rocks. It's one of my least favorite jobs, and when you're farming in shale like this, you pick a lot of rocks. So we'll walk down a little more here, and there's flags here. That day I met with the county. They came out with their survey crew, and they were surveying it. So those flags we don't want to move. They're there for a reason. Gets a little wider here. There's different dimensions, I think, different widths based on how much water they think, how much drop. I'll have to see. I'm going to have him tell me kind of where the edge is. And I might mark it off maybe with just some survey paint, so when we plant we get it to the edge, because I don't want to have any extra. I'm gonna abide by the rules and let the Waterway where it is, but that's it. I'm not gonna have a buffer. It's just the way it is. So we get down here, and it rained pretty heavy on this since he did this, so I'm glad nothing washed on him. All right, so we have this ugly tree line here. This was the way they used to let this, the way they used to control the water. It's like a berm. I think it was more like a water bar to slow the water down. It wasn't doing its job. The trees are staying. The county preferred them to stay. You can see there's a lot of dead stuff, a lot of poison ivy, and I might try to get in here with the anything that's a bad, like multi-flower rose or something. I might come up here and try to spot spray it to keep it out of here. It'd be fine if this was grass and you could let it nice grass, but like that log there's full of poison ivy. So he built this up. This berm really sank over the years. You can see the dirt. He made like a swale, a rise in the terrain here. So now it's kind of acting as a water bar again, like it used to. I'll kneel down here and you can see where the water's coming from up there. And this grass is all going to be grass. Now the next step in this is he's going to spread some fertilizer on. There's some netting, some mesh netting to help hold the ground. I don't know if it's going to work, but excuse me, that's what the plan is calling for. They're going to put the netting down, matting, and then he's going to seed this. He's going to bring a seeder out and seed this, and should work out pretty well. So we'll just keep going for a walk. This here, I don't know how far this, like I say, he might have went a little further than he had to. I have to find out where the edge is. 30 feet. I mean, 30 feet's gonna be 30 feet. At the edge of the 30 feet's gonna be a row of corn. I'm gonna try to do it that way. I don't want to have any wasted land here. And then we come around to this side. You can see the old waterway, part of it that wasn't, it just got too high. He really built this up here. There's a lot of dirt that he filled in here because this area, it was higher than the fields, but this area was really eroded and sunken down. So he raised this up. My gosh, this is, and I don't know if this is the finished product or not, but he has it pretty well level with up there. And that's the top part that is finished. That's the part that I didn't include in the update. A couple of interesting things we found. Here's an old, looks like an old head from a splitting maul or sledgehammer. Here's a piece of steel here. I'll let them there for now. So the bottom part, that's the part that's a little bit more touchy. With it being so wet, he said he did not want to make any more damage than he had to down in here. The county was a little concerned he was going too deep, but he said he'd rather start deep and build up to get the right pitch and the right angle. So while this looks like a real deep trench down through here, you might only use the center of it, might be the bottom, the center foot or two. So they were happy with that. Yeah, it's muddy here yet. I'm sinking in a little bit. So he really has to wait for good weather. All this extra dirt that he pulled out of there, he put back in the field, which is perfect because this here all had heavy erosion. The field was lower than the waterway, which was the problem. The water would come down, hit this water bar, come around, you can see where it was eroded, and right through the field. I mean, there was nothing stopping it from coming there, and it would go out into there, and it's just going to follow gravity. It's not really that difficult. It's not rocket science. Water's gonna it's gonna follow gravity. So he raised this up pretty high here. I mean, this grade here now is at least a foot higher than it was in some spots. So that's good. I'm glad he did that, and it looks like he did go through and pick the rocks with that rock bucket. So this is nice. You could plant this, and we will be a little out of breath here. We will be planting this with corn after I know where the edge of the waterway is supposed to be. Your 30 feet is only going to be, might only come out to like here, so we might not be able to plant it all. Some of this will get planted next year, but I'm I'm glad that's raised up. He said he was going to do that. The other thing he said he was going to do, because this field is on a slant also, I mean, this waterway takes the water just about from the entire farm. My whole farm is like this. It's just on an angle. So this waterway has to take all the water. And what he said he was going to do with the dirt piles is every once in a while just make a gentle swale. Well, you can see it down there. Just a gentle swale and direct it back into the waterway. So if we do have heavy rains, and let's say we have water running from that little slope and it would come down, he said at least he can get it back in the waterway instead of having it wash down over the rest of the farm. He said he's done that on some of his, so he said it works. I trust him. He did it over there as well. Now there is a lot of clay in this. This isn't the, boy, that is hard as a rock. There's a lot of clay now that's on top here, but I still think there's enough topsoil that it's still better. What's here now is better than the eroded soil that I had to work with before. We can work with this. We'll try to build up. I mean, we're starting from scratch here a little bit with organic matter, but the clay is mixed with good topsoil, that real black stuff. So we'll have to see. It looks like he leveled off around there where it was eroded, the other side of that tree line. Now that isn't part of this project. He also did that for me. So, all right, I'm out of breath. I should have rode the four-wheeler down. So I'm gonna walk back up, get the four-wheeler, and we'll make one more stop on this video. All right, so I want to touch on a little bit how it's gonna affect planting and how it's gonna affect and how it's gonna change the fields down here. Down there in the bottom section of the waterway, it's not going to affect a thing. We would plant this long field here, this tree line. I always treated this as two fields because of this water bar being in the middle. This is a pretty large, it's hard to see on camera. It's a large acreage from the tree line up to the hay field and all the way out. It not only goes out, but it wraps all the way around. So when you when you were planting, if you were shelling corn, if you were spraying, you would be starting over there and till you got all the way out and around to where it finally ends. I know I did that test the one day with the car just to see how long that road was. It was close to a mile. I have no way on my tractor to check distance, but anyway, so I treated them like two fields. That lower one, it would start at the waterway there and go out, and this tree line here wraps, it goes back, and then it goes at an angle, and then you can't even see it. It's like it's a drop off, but the ground goes to those, you can just see the very tops of the trees at the very end. So now with this, we used to plant right across here. The corn rows would start at the woods, we'd come right across here and plant it all the way out to the end that way. Now with this waterway here, it's going to change things as far as how we're going to plant. I think this here is going to be end rows now on a diagonal. It's just going to follow the waterway. Maybe. I have to see. See, this is now a triangle. That starts at a point from nothing, and then it widens out all the way down from here and all the way out there. Now we have a triangle to try to farm. Do we want to run short rows with end rows, or put our end rows at the woods like normal and then come out to the waterway, lift up, come across, set back down and go? The only thing with that is you're in a nice straight line here, and a 12-row planter is a little wider. Your rows on this end of the planter, you're gonna have to pull up till your rows finally get to there. And on a 12-row, your other rows, let's say row 1, row 12's at the bottom, row 1 is gonna be here, row 12 will be at the end of the waterway. Now look at this triangle and how much exposed ground you're going to have with weed control. So I don't think coming across a diagonal and lifting up is going to be the thing. I think we're going to be putting end rows here. Going to be more turning around. Yeah, it's the only way you're going to be able to, well, even so, even with end rows, you're still, I don't know. I got to talk to them. I'm not even sure what I would do. You guys feel free to comment, but we got a pretty sharp angle here, and my goal is to have the crops flush with the grass here. So we'll figure it out. We got a tiny triangle up there. I don't think the 12-row planter is going to quite fit up there. We'll have to see. In the planter, it's not one that you can just lift half the rows if they have such a thing. So, all right, I'll come back with you. All right, so you can see where this triangle kind of starts here. You won't get a 12-row planter in here. You won't even get a 6-row. He's probably going to be out to somewhere out there until the planter is able to open all the way up and go down through. Yeah, it's going to be somewhere in there. So this area here might be, unless he wants to really mess around, he could back and just put, I don't know. I don't like triangles. I don't like circles. It's just the way it's going to be here. It's just the way the land is. So we'll have to figure this out. Yeah, and even so, the way it is, it's like there it's kind of an angle. Here it bellies out. We'll have to figure something out with that. Okay, one last part on this video, and we'll end this Waterway update number 3, the ruts. I did talk to him about those when they drove through. Waterway update part 2 video. It's mostly about those ruts and how disgusted I was. He did tell me he's gonna need a road somewhere to get down to the end of this run here to haul stone in. He's gonna have to. He said there's no way around it. He didn't want to drive in here because he was afraid he'd get stuck down in there with loaded trucks. He said he was sinking in so much he wanted to stay along the trees and then make a run for it across the field as fast as he could so he didn't sink and get stuck. So we talked it over and everything, and he had said, go ahead, you can smooth out. I can smooth out the ruts. And I don't know if he will, since he brought some of his equipment. We'll see. He's coming back. He's not done by any means, but he said plan it like you'd plan it. He said, and then somewhere he's gonna have to drive down through the crops. He said he's gonna have to establish some type of a road to get down there. So I understand. It is a construction site. This video, things are a lot nicer and a lot cleaner than they were in the first update, and I understand that you're going to have all this kind of stuff when you're doing jobs like this, but just now at the phase he's at now, looking at the finished product, how much leveling he did, how much picking rocks he did, really eased my mind a lot on what it's going to look like when it's finished. So I kind of I know I was angry in that video. There was no hiding it, but it is what it is. It has to be. Yeah, that ground is compacted there. It's going to take a while to recover, but it is what it is till this project is done. I'm hoping once this project's done, then we can start over on some of these troubled spots and start trying to build things back up. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I'm going to do a video on this equipment quick here today, and the wind is starting to calm down, so that'll be part of the video that you probably saw yesterday. So I'm trying to get a couple videos done today since I don't get time during the week. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for Waterway Part 4.